Think your home is a safe investment. Think the neighborhood you just moved to will always have running water. Think the real estate market you're buying into today will still exist in 10 years. You need to think again. Right now, beneath all the new construction and housing booms across America, a quiet crisis is building. One tap at a time, one dried-up water source at a time, one city at a time. For the past decade, federal scientists have been tracking something most Americans have no clue is happening. Underground water is disappearing. Rivers that fed entire regions for centuries are dropping to unprecedented levels. And in some places, officials have already stopped new construction because there isn't enough water left to support it. This isn't about politics. This is basic geology, basic physics. When water runs out, everything built on top of it becomes worthless. Your home equity, your retirement, your family's future, all tied to a resource vanishing faster than most people realize. Today, millions of families are signing mortgages in danger zones. Developers keep building. Real estate agents keep selling. Marketing pictures still show green lawns and backyard pools. But government data tells a completely different story. One most buyers won't hear until it's too late. We're talking about cities where the air itself is turning toxic. Metro areas where officials just stopped issuing water permits. In this video, we're walking through 10 places where America's water crisis is hitting hardest. Where home values aren't just at risk, they're on borrowed time. By number 1, you'll understand why one of the fastest growing housing markets in America is sitting on the edge of collapse. If you own property in any of these places, you need to see this before everyone else figures it out. Let's start where the danger is most visible. Number 10. Salt Lake City. Where breathing outside could poison you. Salt Lake City, Utah. Mountains in every direction. Mountains. Clean air. Outdoor lifestyle. The kind of city families move to for better quality of life. But in 2025, that image is cracking. The Great Salt Lake has lost 2/3 of its size since the 1980s. NASA satellite images show the change clearly. Miles of shoreline simply gone. Massive lake bed sections that sat underwater now exposed to open air. That's where the real danger begins. The lake bed isn't regular dirt. It's packed with arsenic, mercury, and lead. Toxins accumulating for thousands of years. Now the water's gone, these heavy metals are drying into superfine dust. When wind blows, and it blows constantly across the Great Basin, toxic dust lifts into the air and travels straight into the lungs of millions living in the Salt Lake Valley, a major American city where air itself is becoming hazardous. Not from car exhaust or factories, from a disappearing lake releasing poison into the atmosphere. Scientists have warned about this for years, comparing it to Owens Lake in California, where dried lakebed created toxic dust storms affecting entire communities. Except Salt Lake is bigger, the population larger, and the impact could be devastating. A Brigham Young University report laid it out plainly. Without immediate water conservation, the Great Salt Lake could vanish within 5 years. That's not your grandkids' problem. That's right around the corner. When that lake disappears, what happens to home values where breathing outdoor air makes you sick? They won't drop, they'll collapse. Who buys property where playing outside with kids becomes a health risk? Air quality alerts are already being issued. Days where residents stay inside. As more lakebed gets exposed, warnings will only worsen. Drop a comment. Would you take that risk? Thousands of families living there had no idea this was coming. Number 9. Phoenix, where the state stopped issuing water permits. Phoenix, Arizona, the number 1 danger zone in America's water crisis. Most home buyers there have no clue what they're walking into. For 10 years, Phoenix has been one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. People flooding in from California and expensive states, chasing affordable housing. new neighborhoods sprouting across the desert, suburbs expanding faster than almost anywhere in America. Here's what those buyers don't know. In 2023, the Arizona Department of Water Resources made a massive announcement that should have stopped the market cold. Somehow it barely made news. Most people never heard about it. The state officially declared groundwater supplies in Phoenix insufficient to support projected demand over the next century. Not enough. Their exact words. Officials immediately stopped issuing certificates of assured water supply for new developments on the city's outer edges. That decision basically froze suburban expansion around Phoenix, a major American city where the state government said we can't guarantee enough water for new homes. The full report reveals staggering numbers, a projected shortfall of nearly 5 million acre-feet of water, a massive gap between what people need and what exists underground. Developers are scrambling now, trying to find loopholes, trying to secure water elsewhere. But you can't legal speak around geology. The water isn't there. You can't pump what doesn't exist. Buy a home on Phoenix's outskirts today, and there's a real chance that in 10 years, you're depending on trucked-in water or a well slowly running dry. Once the market understands that risk, property values will tank. Now add temperature. Phoenix already hits extreme heat. Summers regularly exceed 115 degrees. Climate projections show temperatures continuing to rise. The deadly feedback loop. Hotter weather means people need more water to survive, but hotter weather also means less water available through evaporation. Those forces push against each other. Eventually, something breaks. If this is opening your eyes, hit that like button. It helps this message reach people who need to see it. Number 8. Albuquerque. The city built on a lie, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Beautiful scenery, rich culture, and a water problem most residents don't fully understand. For decades, Albuquerque's entire growth plan relied on one comfortable assumption. City planners believed a massive underground aquifer sat beneath them, something so huge they compared it to Lake Superior. That belief became the foundation for every development decision. Then, in the 1990s, the U.S. Geological Survey released their findings. Everything changed. The aquifer wasn't nearly as large as believed, smaller, more fragmented. For years, possibly decades, the city made decisions based on wildly wrong estimates about underground water. An entire city, hundreds of thousands of people, billions in real estate, all built on faulty data about the most basic survival resource. By the time truth emerged, significant damage was done. To their credit, Albuquerque responded aggressively with major conservation programs, becoming a national model for cutting per-person water use. But here's the unfixable problem. Albuquerque now relies heavily on the San Juan Chama project, diverting water from the Colorado River basin. The Colorado River is failing. Albuquerque traded one dying water source for another. Los Alamos National Laboratory research spelled out the threat. Rising temperatures will accelerate evaporation while reducing mountain snowpack. Snowpack is critical. It melts slowly through spring and summer, feeding rivers and recharging aquifers. Less snow means far less water flowing through the system. Albuquerque is trapped between two failing lifelines. Below, a depleted aquifer that can't meet demand. Above, a shrinking river stretched thin across multiple states. Buying property there means betting on a desert environment getting hotter, drier, and more stressed every year. The risks keep growing. Number 7. Fresno. Where? The ground is literally sinking. Fresno, California, America's agricultural heart. Farms here produce a massive percentage of the nation's fruits, vegetables, and nuts. But underneath that productivity, something alarming is happening. The ground is collapsing. Drought made surface water from the Sierra Nevada mountains unreliable, so farmers and cities turn to groundwater as backup, pumping underground aquifers at unsustainable rates to keep crops alive. California Department of Water Resources has tracked the consequences. They're severe. The land is sinking. The technical term is subsidence. It's happening in the Central Valley faster than almost anywhere on Earth. In some areas near Fresno, ground has dropped more than 28 feet over a century. The land literally collapsed almost 3 stories. This isn't just data, it's destroying infrastructure. Bridges cracking, canals warping, well casings sticking up like chimneys because earth around them sank away. The truly devastating part, you can't fix subsidence. It's permanent. When you drain aquifer water, underground clay and sediment compress. Once collapsed, they lose the ability to hold future water. Storage capacity is gone forever. Like crushing a sponge flat, you can add water back, but it never expands to original size. California passed the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, forcing major pumping reductions. Sounds responsible. In reality, it means thousands of farmland acres shutting down. Farmers won't have enough water to grow anything. When farming economy collapses, housing market follows. Jobs disappear. Businesses close. People leave. Home values crater. Fresno faces both environmental and economic collapse simultaneously, feeding off each other in an unstoppable cycle. Number 6. Las Vegas. The gambler's paradise running out of luck. Las Vegas, Nevada. The boldest bet humans ever made against nature. The house might finally be losing. From the Strip, Vegas looks unstoppable. Lights, growth, construction cranes everywhere. But underneath that confidence, the city's survival hangs on one fragile thread. 90% of Las Vegas water comes from Lake Mead, the massive reservoir behind Hoover Dam. Lake Mead is in serious trouble. Water levels drop to record lows, so low that intake pipes built to pull water from deep underwater now stick out above the waterline. Infrastructure sits exposed because the lake shrunk that dramatically. The Southern Nevada Water Authority spent nearly $1.5 billion building the third straw, a new intake positioned at the reservoir's absolute bottom. It exists for one reason: keeping water flowing even if the lake drops to catastrophic levels. That's survival mode, not growth, not expansion, just avoiding total collapse. Vegas became a world leader in water conservation, recycling almost all indoor water use, treating and returning it to Lake Mead. Impressive. But conservation can't control evaporation. In desert heat, water evaporates at insane rates. Vegas has zero control over that. Scientists identified dead pool status, the point where Lake Mead drops so low, water can't physically flow through Hoover Dam. If that happens, Las Vegas gets completely cut off. An island with no lifeline. Warning signs escalate. New regulations ban ornamental grass. You can't plant decorative lawns. That signals stricter measures coming. When grass is banned, pools are next. Then car washes. Then anything non-essential. The federal government has authority to cut Nevada's water allocation if shortages worsen. Vegas doesn't control its fate. Washington, D.C. decisions could slash the city's supply overnight. Imagine selling a house there in 10 years, lake half empty, water rationed, lawns dead, pools drained. What's your pitch? How do you convince someone to invest in a desert city whose water source visibly collapses? Number 5. Los Angeles. The megacity with no backup plan. Los Angeles, California, America's second largest city. Almost 4 million people in city limits. Over 13 million in the metro area. Most assume LA can throw money at any problem, but money can't fix what's coming. The foundation this city was built on is cracking. LA was never designed to run on local water. It runs on imported water. All 3 major systems keeping this city alive face severe strains simultaneously. The Los Angeles Aqueduct pulls water from Owens Valley. The Colorado River Aqueduct brings it from the east. The State Water Project delivers supplies from Northern California. Every single one is struggling. Not one problem, multiple crises converging. Northern California cuts water sent south to protect endangered fish. Owens Valley has been drained so dry that toxic dust storms blow through regularly, causing respiratory problems and legal battles. The Colorado River entered Tier 2 shortage, automatically triggering California allocation cuts. The Metropolitan Water District recently declared an actual water shortage emergency. Millions restricted to outdoor watering 1 day weekly. These restrictions aren't temporary. They're becoming normal life. Here's uncomfortable truth. Civilizations that can't supply themselves with water don't last. History overflows with cities and empires that collapsed when water sources dried up. LA isn't immune to nature's laws. LA real estate already costs more than almost anywhere in the country, meaning financial exposure is enormous. If water rationing becomes permanent, if California lifestyle becomes unsustainable, the premium people pay to live here could evaporate. What makes LA attractive? Lifestyle, weather, outdoor living. Imagine that disappearing because water is too scarce. What happens to property values then? Subscribe. We'll keep tracking these trends as they develop. Number 4. Denver, the mountain city, tied to a dying river. Denver, Colorado. Mountain views, outdoor recreation, high quality of life. The place people dream about moving to. But underneath that appeal sits a water crisis most newcomers never hear about. Denver gets half its water from the Colorado River Basin. The Colorado River is in serious trouble. This river supports 40 million people across 7 states. Over the past century, flow dropped 20%, not temporary, a long-term structural collapse. The river is being asked to do more than it's physically capable of. It's failing. Denver Water knows the danger, scrambling to secure additional water rights. But it comes with fierce legal battles and astronomical costs. Most people don't know, Denver is legally required to share water shortages. As the river shrinks, Denver faces mandatory reductions that could completely change daily life. Lawn watering banned, pools drained, even basic household use restricted. The metro area sprawls outward at breakneck speed, subdivisions replacing open prairie, concrete covering land that absorbed water and moderated temperatures. This creates urban heat islands, speeding evaporation and stressing already limited supplies. Research in science found the current mega drought is the worst in 200 years. Not a bad dry spell, a historic, civilization-threatening event. Buying Denver property means betting heavily on a failing river. Mountain views are incredible, hiking world-class. But when you can't flush your toilet because there's no water, those views mean nothing. Share this with anyone thinking about moving to the Rockies. They deserve understanding these risks before making a decision that could haunt them for decades. Number 3, San Antonio, running on fumes. San Antonio, Texas, deep roots, rich culture, and a vulnerability most don't understand. San Antonio is one of Earth's largest cities, depending almost completely on one single underground aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer. Geologically impressive, but incredibly fragile. The aquifer recharges when it rains. Storms roll through, water filters through limestone, refilling relatively quickly. But when rain stops, water levels drop alarmingly fast, more like a sponge drying out than a stable underground lake. Conditions have been dry. U.S. Drought Monitor tracked years of severe drought across this Texas region. Public records show San Antonio operating under water restrictions almost continuously, not just emergencies, but all the time. The city tried fixing it, building a massive pipeline pulling water from another aquifer 140 miles away, cost billions. Experts say it's just temporary bandage. Bought time. Didn't solve the structural problem. Big picture. Texas Water Development Board projects state population growing over 70% in the next 50 years. Simultaneously, available water supplies expected to drop nearly 18%. 70% more people. 18% less water. Those trend lines head in opposite directions. They're going to crash. As infrastructure costs explode trying to keep water flowing, costs pass to consumers. Water bills climbing. That pressure ripples into housing affordability. Who wants a $2,000 mortgage when water bills add another $500? Water is the foundation. Without it, nothing else matters. Number 2. Atlanta. 90 days from running dry Atlanta, Georgia. Dancing on disaster's edge for years. Most residents have no idea how close they've come. Atlanta got dealt a tough geographic hand, built on a ridge relying almost entirely on surface water, the Chattahoochee River and Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is one of the smallest reservoirs serving an Atlanta-sized metro area anywhere in the United States, objectively tiny for its job. Back to 2007, the Southeast went through brutal drought. Atlanta came within 90 days of completely running out of water, 3 months from turning off taps for 6 million people. You'd think that near catastrophe would trigger massive changes, but development kept rolling. Subdivisions kept popping up. Apartments kept rising. Population kept exploding. Water supply stayed exactly the same size. Army Corps of Engineers data shows Lake Lanier slowly filling with sediment. Storage capacity shrinks yearly, while metro population blows past 6 million and keeps climbing. Atlanta is also stuck in the tri-state water wars. Florida and Alabama suing Georgia for years, claiming Atlanta hogs water and destroys downstream ecosystems. These cases reached the Supreme Court. If the court ever rules against Georgia, Atlanta could lose massive water allocation overnight. No warning. Just a legal decision cutting off significant supply. Atlanta Regional Commission projects the region needing 50% more water by 2050. Where does that come from? Lake already too small. River maxed out. Neighboring states fighting in court to take water away. Imagine buying a house in a city perpetually one drought or one court ruling from dry faucets. That's Atlanta's reality. Drop a comment if you're seeing water bills climb. Number 1. Orlando. Poisoning its your own water supply. Orlando, Florida. Theme parks, rain showers, lush landscapes, water everywhere. The last place you'd expect water crisis. That's exactly what makes it dangerous. Perception divorced from reality. Central Florida. Water Initiative findings should alarm property owners. Daily, Orlando pulls 800 million gallons from the Floridian aquifer. Scientists say sustainable rate is 760 million gallons daily. Orlando overdraws its water account every single day. Eventually, you hit zero. With water, consequences exceed overdraft fees. The nightmare scenario is already unfolding. Multiple reports document saltwater intrusion. When you pump too much fresh water out, underground pressure drops. The Atlantic Ocean sits miles away. When pressure drops, salt water creeps inland into freshwater supply. Once salt water contaminates an aquifer, you can't filter it out. Reversal technology is expensive and complex, often irreversible. Imagine turning on your tap one day and tasting salt water. Not a broken pipe. The entire supply permanently compromised. Orlando Economic Partnership tracks population. 1,000 new people move to Orlando weekly. People needing showers, dishes, lawns, pools, weekly. Over 50,000 new residents yearly piling onto a maxed-out system. Demand shooting up, supply shrinking. Timeline tighter than people realize. Experts project demand significantly outpacing availability by 2025. Not distant future, next year. What happens to vacation home investments when faucets deliver salt water? What happens to property values when the fundamental resource for human life becomes unreliable? What this means for your future? What you've seen today isn't exaggeration. Every piece comes from government research and scientific studies. These cities collide with geological realities no money can fix. Whether investor or homeowner, Look past granite countertops. Pay attention to what's happening underground. The aquifers. The rivers. When water stops flowing, property values don't drop. They vanish. Housing markets charge ahead like this doesn't matter. Development still built. Homes still sold. Marketing shows landscaping and pools. None sustainable long-term. I'll keep tracking these trends. To protect your investments and stay ahead, subscribe. Hit like. Comment which city you think hits the wall first. If developers should be legally required to disclose water risks to buyers, make your voice heard in comments. Stay informed. Stay safe. See you in the next investigation.